We were raised as a very tight family, and we were very blessed. Mike was an up and down, climb on you, look at this, always fidgeting kind of a youngster.
What we did for fun when we were kids was get in trouble. I mean, that's probably every young kid's story, but we all got in trouble, and we learned lessons from the previous. See, I was the youngest, so we learned lessons from the previous about how to get in trouble better, you know, get away with it more or do worse. But, you know, we were all good kids at heart. For my mom and my sister, it's less about the athletic side, more about the love of the animals. They love horses. They love being around horses. My brother, obviously, great baseball player. I was pretty good at a lot of sports, but not great. You know, I kind of jack of all trades, master of none, one of those types. Never really dedicated to one sport, but I loved them all. You know, and that gave me I think a deep appreciation just for the enjoyment of sport.
He had maybe played flag football, but tackle football with pads. I saw part of Mike's temperament that I just had never seen before, or maybe I had seen it just in a different way. They had a tackling dummy, and the coach was trying to get them going, and the coach was holding the tackling dummy, and a couple of the kids kind of hit it and bounced off, and he was saying, I want you guys to hit this. There's no reserve in football. And Mike said, you mean hit it as hard as we want? He said, hit it as hard as you want. And when Mike's turn came up, he left the ground and flew 8 or 10 feet in the air, full speed, knocked the coach down, knocked the dummy down, stood up, and everybody was smiling. But it was just, you mean I don't have to hold back? And it was a wonderful moment that showed me something about Mike's temperament.
Michael's always been, I guess, a fighter in more than one way, I guess. But he's very focused, and anything he's ever attempted to do, he did full blast.
Went to Kellam, 4 years there. Like I said, played a lot of sports there. Did pretty good in school. Could have done better if I hadn't been getting in so much trouble, but did pretty good enough to get me into Virginia Tech. And by the time I was, I want to say 22, I should have graduated by college already, but since I had not been doing so great in grades, I was still basically about to go into my junior year. I dropped everything that I looked at, and I said, this is taking me down a road I don't want to go. Drug use, alcohol, I dropped alcohol completely. And basically cleaned up everything. The cutting out alcohol changed everything for me, because it was just destroying my ability to be productive in any way whatsoever. I mean, it's amazing how destructive that can be when you don't see it from an outside perspective. Like, you get trapped in it, and you go day in and day out, and day in and day out, and you're just wasting time.
He found this martial arts something that he thought he could master, and they have a lot of levels. It is a teaching sport. He's a great teacher, a great instructor, but he demands a lot, but he has a compassionate side and an understanding side.
I fell in love with it right away. Just the respect portion, you know, of the respect for the teachers. Within 6 months of training to teach, I started teaching, and it probably wasn't a year and a half after that the injury happened, but I loved it. I really loved teaching. I really loved the students that I had, and I think they loved me too. We were training, and it was the end of a training session that we typically do an open mat, where basically you're live rolling with a partner, one of the other students, and the objective of this particular training session was that one person would be flat on their backs on the mat, and the other would be trying to take position over that person on the mat. And as he began to take position, he ended up putting a lot of weight into my hips. So my neck was trapped against the mat and the body folded over the neck, which caused what they called a subluxation of the spine, the spinal column, between the C4 and the C5 spinal columns. I immediately knew something had happened because of the loud crack. There's nothing louder that you'll ever hear than something breaking in your own body. When I broke my neck, it was as if the rest of the noise in the room was drowned out, and all I heard was the breaking of the neck. And you know right away. And I shouted out, "Oh no." And the teacher knew from the tone of my voice that something bad had happened. It was about 12 a.m., about 3 hours after the accident, that they sat me down and they told me that I had broken my neck and caused damage to the spinal cord, and that they would need to operate. That was when I told them, okay, it's time to call the family.
The phone woke me up. My cell phone woke me up in the middle of the night. I was here alone. David was in Florida on business, and it was the neurosurgeon, Dr. Zhu, and basically telling me, what had happened and that he was getting ready to scrub in for surgery. That first, month in the hospital was really tough. Those were some hard days.
We kept hearing more and more about the Shepherd Center.
I have a text from my next door neighbor that when we were trying to decide where to go, and she said, at the Shepherd Center, miracles happen in people's lives that are written off everywhere else. She said, there's no question, you need to be here.
After 8 weeks at Shepherd Center, we came back home, and we honestly kind of started to hit our first roadblocks. Finally, by, I think, luck, found ODU rehab. The FES bike, it's a functional electrical stimulation bike, was a technology that I was introduced to at Shepherd Center. It employs electrical stimulation of the muscle that fires a muscle that I may not even be able to fire myself.
Really, the sky's the limit with this because we can do arms, we can do any number of muscle combinations. And
be pedaling with my arms or my legs, a bike in a repetitive motion, sometimes with resistance, sometimes without, and it basically fires the muscles for me, which simply allows me to use what I can use and increase the strength of that muscle if it's there. I want to take what I'm doing now with the people that I have around me and use it to teach and instruct and inspire other people going through the same thing to not give up, to actively push to get everything that they can get back from their recovery.
It sure is a lot easier when you have a supportive, loving family, and nobody wants to go through something like this, but it sure is a lot easier when you have family that loves you.